Here we are. Welcome to another morning sit. 7 a.m. in Portland, Oregon, land of the Multnomah tribes. I'm Candle Summers, if anyone there has not met me. There might be some new people. Hard to say. If anyone is fairly new in the Dharma, like less than a year and a half, have you started sitting before COVID? Raise your hand. Hi, Sandra. How nice to see you. Thanks for coming in before work. Some of you join us before work. Some of us have the privilege. Hi, Deborah. Thank you for raising your hand. Some of us have the privilege of being able to sleep in a little later some mornings, but I was glad after we had the discussion yesterday about our children to be able to play that Sweet Honey in the Rock song. They cheer it up from the way you tend to read it while reading poetry. So I suppose some others might still be joining. Let's take a few deep breaths and let us settle in what I like to call the noble position. And I'd just like to give you a reminder that whether you're sitting or standing or walking or lying down, to find what's comfortable. You don't need to be close to the screen watching all of this, as long as you can hear my voice or hear the bell when it rings. We take this opportunity to get to know our hearts and minds better. Hi, Tim. I see you joining. Carmen, haven't seen you for a long time. How nice. Denise, hello. Just waving to everybody coming and going, or coming. Maybe before we close, I'll play that song again. Or maybe I'm gonna try Tim. Tim, do you have your headphones on yet? Oh, you do. No, you don't. I'm gonna put him on the spot. Tim, I was just talking about you, but you couldn't hear me. Hi, Wally. So we have amongst us many talented people. Hi, Leanne. And I like to ask Tim if he's listening and willing to sing a song at the end of our gathering. Is that possible today, Tim?
Sure, I could do that.
Oh, you're so generous, which is the very thing that I like to bring up at the beginning of our sit. And that is the generosity that we have for ourselves for choosing this time to be here. Deborah, I'm going to ask you, Ackerman, are you raising your hand because you're fairly new, or is there also something you'd like to say? I see that you had your hand raised, and I appreciate that.
You just had said, I thought you said to raise your hand if you've been doing this for a while. I didn't know if you're new to it. I'm not new.
Okay, great. Thanks. I think I can lower your hand. Thanks for saying that.
Okay.
Oh, you got it. Good.
There.
I know quite a few people have been here a long time, and others are a little newer at it, so sometimes it controls how much I speak. So if you've been sitting quite some time, when you hear my voice guiding you, you can just let it be sound coming to the ear without any kind of identification of what I'm saying or anything. If you have your own way that you like to sit, the way you like to begin your practice, then please feel free to do what you know to do to help still the body, quiet the mind. It can be done standing, walking. If you can hear my voice and hear the bell, we're in good shape. And so the generosity that the Buddha taught was on many levels. That the teachings of the Dharma are priceless, and the monks and the nuns were supported by the lay people, lay women and lay men, and he established all four of these groupings to carry out the Dharma. And I oftentimes like to read a little something generally from women in the Dharma. So I thought just briefly this morning I would share from, this is called The Unentangled Knowing. And Upasika Ki Nanyan was a living, realized lay person during our lifetime. She passed away, I believe, I don't know the date, it doesn't say on the back of the book, but what I'm reading was in 1974. And she wrote under a pen name, and she was one of the foremost teachers of the Dhamma in Thailand. And she had a very simple way of teaching. It was very direct and uncompromised, and her poetry was widely published, and she, after living her lay life and being with her parents, after they passed away, she joined her aunt and uncle, and they had a piece of property, and it became a center for monastics and lay people. And so I'll keep it at that. And this is called Reading the Heart. She wrote it on March 15th, 1974. The Buddha taught that we are to know with our hearts and minds. Even though there are many, many words and phrases coined to explain the Dhamma, we need focus only on the things we can know and see, extinguish and let go of, right in each moment of the immediate present. Better than taking on a load of other things. Once we can read and comprehend our inner awareness, we'll be struck deep within us that the Buddha awakened to the truth right here in the heart. His truth is truly the language of the heart. When they translate the Dhamma in all sorts of ways, it becomes something ordinary. But if you keep close, careful watch, right at the heart and mind, you'll be able to see clearly, to let go, to put down your burdens. If you don't know right here, your knowledge will send out all sorts of branches, turning into thought formations with all sorts of meanings, in line with conventional labels, and all of them way off the mark. If you know right at your inner awareness and make it your constant stance, there's nothing at all, no need to take hold of anything, no need to label anything, no need to give anything names. Right where craving arises, right where it disbands, that's where you'll know what Nibbana is like. Freedom is simply this disbanding of craving. That's what the Buddha stressed over and over again. Thank you, Upasika Ki. When she retired in 1945, she turned her home into the meditation center with her aunt and uncle. And she was mostly self-taught, reading the Pali Canon and other Buddhist literature, and her Dharma talks and poetry were widely published. And so taking that in mind, the practice of the heart and mind, we let ourselves come to this sitting position. I'll ring the bell, letting the sound come to the ears. And just beginning to notice what's happening right now, right in front of us. We may start with noticing, hearing what's happening close or far away, sounds arriving to the ears. Just sound coming to a sense door. We may notice right away if we identify it as pleasant or unpleasant, or maybe we aren't noticing that. It's more neutral. We may notice taste, what might be occurring inside our mouths. Noticing the sensations happening there. Dryness, wetness. We may notice pressure, tingling. We oftentimes choose at the start to find a single object to attend to help the body settle into stillness and to help the mind relax into calmness. We can let our attention fall on the breath. In the Anapanasati Sutta, we're advised to notice that the breath is long or short. On the inhale, long or short on the exhale. We're just present with mindfulness at the fore and awareness and wisdom. Noticing what may be skillful and what may be unskillful happening in the mind right now. Mindfulness is neutral. present, seeing things just the way they are, and knowing, having a knowing happening. And so we develop concentration for a little while, attending to our breath, or sometimes to a seated position. We might feel pressure at the buttocks, or notice where our hands are touching, or our eyelids. We're trying over time to be careful to not let the mind get absent-minded or distracted. So that we can string together moments of mindfulness, becoming more continuous. So if we sit for a fairly long period of time, like we do for this 45 minutes or so in the morning, we can focus on centering the mind like this on the breath or a touch point for a little while into the beginning of the meditation, to help center the mind so that it doesn't wander off quite so much. If we change positions, we can notice with awareness, with intention, as we start to move. But we can understand that the changing of the positions, it's just our outer change in the body, and the mind can still be firmly centered and neutral each moment that we're standing or sitting or lying down or whatever. Mindfulness is the key factor. Building this foundation so that we have a snug and stable continuity with each of our in and out breaths. We can relax our focus. We can do this with a relaxed feeling in the body. Sometimes it helps to sweep the mind through the body, sweep the attention through the body, relaxing behind the eyes, in the jaw and in the throat. Letting the shoulders fall gently. Noticing gravity where we're sitting. Letting ourselves feel the whole container of our breath within our body. We continue from time to time to come back to the breath or to the touch point to help the heart and mind get centered to paying attention to this inner knowing. We can know sensations, various sensations throughout the body. We can notice thoughts at the mind door. Relaxing the body. Stabilizing the mind, letting it touch upon calmness. And we can have gladdening of the heart and mind as we notice ourselves being present with exactly what's arising. There isn't anything we have to do. But pay attention. Have mindfulness be there. Creating a stable container with the heart and mind. And the mind will let go without our having to do anything else. Every now and then we can notice that it can stay neutral, equanimous, and just right. And we notice these moments when our hearts are settled. There can be coolness in the mind, and we can be neutral around objects that keep arising and passing, arising and passing. And so we train the mind, we train our hearts to have mindfulness at the fore and awareness present. Upasika Key says in some of her writings that if you can train the mind so that stability is its basic stance, it won't get into mischief, and it won't cause you any trouble, and it won't concoct thoughts. It will be quiet. And it'll grow more and more refined. And it can probe into and penetrate within itself to know its own state of concentration from within. not so much external circumstances. If we find ourselves spacing out or unaware, that's fine. That's what happens. We can just wake up right there in that moment. And we take an inner notice of whether where we find ourselves feels pleasant or unpleasant. Or are we aware of neither of those? And that's a moment of awakening, right where we are. We have just enough effort to stay alert and yet not over vigilant. We want to know whatever's happening. If it's quiet, then it's quiet. And if it's not quiet, then it's not quiet. And we just know that. And we hold ourselves gently and kindly while this is happening. Relaxed. The Buddha encouraged us to think of the good things that were done for us by others, teachers, friends, parents, loved ones, whomever. And if we do this intentionally and we cultivate it, rather than just letting it happen accidentally, it can uplift our minds, support our practice. We can also remember our own good deeds, enlivening, gladdening the mind to continue this practice that sometimes seems very difficult. Simple but difficult. Sometimes we can put a little inner smile inside our faces. something that might gladden the heart. As we notice the breath rising and falling, as we notice that we can't control it or hang on to it, or we watch thoughts arising and passing. Conditions come together. Lots is happening. We know some of it. We watch it pass. We might feel that it's taking a long time to pass. It might be something unpleasant. We can notice unpleasant. We can be with the emotion as it arises, but we can be sure that mindfulness is there, attending, being present without falling into extremes, letting equanimity be with us and joy. Sometimes thoughts arise in the mind that might be difficult or repetitive. We can hold ourselves gently with compassion. Sometimes it helps to move a little bit where we're sitting, rocking ourselves or cradling ourselves in some way, to allow ourselves to let our hearts open to kindness, to compassion for what this body, heart, mind is experiencing at the time. And we can return to the breath or the touch point, feeling our buttocks on the cushion, feeling the pressure of our feet on the floor, letting gravity ground us into anchoring in our bodies. Being aware moment to moment that things are not permanent, they're impermanent. And we can't hang on to them if they're pleasant, and we can't easily push them away. They arise and pass away due to their own conditions. And we're here with mindfulness to see that we can't grasp. We understand the Four Noble Truths of craving and clinging that cause us suffering, and we let go. We can gain a taste of centered concentration. And we can use mindfulness to maintain it. We have this intention in our formal sitting time to train the heart and mind to find inner stability. It helps us get less entangled with thought forms. They can arise and pass away. And if not, and the mind is busy and restless, we notice that. One of the hindrances is around. reminding ourselves from time to time, what is the attitude of the mind? What is happening right now? Having interest. We have our mindfulness focusing on what arises and passes with just enough effort to stay attentive moment to moment. We're establishing mindfulness at the center as a solid stance. What are we noticing while we're practicing? What is the quality of the mind and the quality of the heart? Are we noticing the defilements of tiredness or restlessness? Grasping at wanting a certain state of mind to stay that way and pushing away a different state of mind because it's not pleasant. Mindfulness is there. Awareness is there. And we will be naturally shown what's happening in the mind right now if we have a commitment to training as best we can, being aware in a relaxed, easeful manner. The mind can be lighter and more peaceful, more open and happier, and more interested and willing to practice as our confidence in the practice increases. We can call upon the 5 faculties of confidence or faith in the practice. Energy and effort, just the right amount. Mindfulness, sati. And we're developing concentration, which brings us wisdom and discernment to see clearly. The truth of suffering. And that brings joy to the heart and mind. We're inclining the mind toward skillful reflection. As we hold ourselves in this container of the breath, holding ourselves kindly, letting compassion for times that it's difficult be present, being kind to ourselves, wishing that we can see clearly, holding in our hearts our ability to wish ourselves to be safe and protected and have ease in our lives. Letting this feeling of kindness, in whatever way we can feel it. It might be a reminder of a song that we enjoy, or a place that we take ourselves in our mind, or actually in nature, or a comfortable place in our home. Ways that we can enliven and enlighten the heart to feel kindness. We can touch upon this place and include others in it, letting our hearts be able to hold a close friend in kindness, wishing them to be safe and protected and have ease and well-being. And this practice of metta, bringing loving kindness to ourselves and others, is also a concentration practice. If you like the phrases or have certain phrases that work for you, use the phrases that you use, or maybe it's just the single word of metta or a feeling in the heart and mind. Wishing a close friend to be free from harm, have ease and well-being, having the feeling of them in your heart. Letting this kindness radiate to include a benefactor, a teacher, or perhaps it's a child or an animal, or your first Dharma teacher, or sometimes someone completely surprising shows up in our hearts. Allowing a benefactor to arise in our heart and mind and include them in our feelings of kindness and well-being, in our sense of compassion for them when things are difficult. May you have happiness and the causes of happiness, and when things are challenging, may you hold yourself with compassion. May you find joy and equanimity. And then gathering the energy from this kindness from our benefactor to our benefactor and our friend and ourselves, letting this sense of kindness flow to a neutral person or to a group of neutral people. Just as I wish to be happy, I know that you also wish to be happy. May you have ease in your life. Whatever feeling sense comes from the heart to encompass the neutral person or group of neutral people. Wishing kindness, well-being. And then allowing this inclining of the mind toward well-being to include family members and neighbors, those around us. Letting it flow in various directions to the north and the east, the south and to the west, above and below to all beings, seen and unseen, known and unknown. Beings that swim and fly, walk, crawl. Those in great sorrow and those in joy. Those who are walking the path of freedom and those who've never heard of it. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness. Find tranquility. Understand their true nature. And may the merit of our practice, spending this time together, the goodness that we are nurturing, may it reach far and wide and have benefit to all beings. Anicca vata sankara upadavaya domino upakitawa meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. They arise and pass away. And seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which we know to be peace, the greatest happiness of peace, by seeing clearly the impermanent nature of things. And letting this mindfulness stay with you as you shift in your position and move to do the glasses or the drink of water. Just allowing the softness of the gaze to include whatever's around you. Noticing what happens in the mind as we start conditioning things around us. We might be noticing seeing, we might be noticing hearing, there might be thoughts flowing around. And we just let this mindfulness move from that more inner focus to including others in our sphere here of letting these thoughts of kindness flow to those within our morning Sangha. And as you're noticing what mindfully arises, I'll take a few moments just to remind you of some of the activities that happen at PIMC. We have the great privilege of having quite a few teachers sharing their expertise and love of the Dharma. And one of those is that Doug Pullen continues with his basic mindfulness class. He does things back to back on Thursday. He also does the Heart of Freedom, his Thursday group. And Gregory Maloof is available in his Wake Up Wednesday, which he used to teach regularly, but due to various circumstances, he offers it in his podcast. So if you have a place that you go for podcasts and you can look up Wake Up Wednesday, you'll still be able to experience Doug. And our illustrious Jim has his Monday nights. And he also has his regular Qigong, which happens once a month, but it's not happening this month because our Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Committee, including the teachers and the board, are having a meeting with Shelly Graf, who is a teacher and consult for us who lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So she's joining our Zoom meeting on Saturday morning, so no Qigong this time. And if you make a note to save on your calendar for November 30th, there'll be more information later around a community gathering. And on December 4th, I'm doing a day-long. It's talked about in the digest. If you don't get the digest, you can sign up for it. I think you can sign up at the website, or you can write to the email address, I believe, of Avi at PIMC to also be put on the listserv of the email that goes out. Those emails are regular for people to talk to each other, and the digest goes out once a week. And Jim and Robert are going to do a non-residential retreat starting in January. It's full, but one never knows. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe he'll expand it, but I haven't talked to him about it yet, so who knows. And I just want to thank everyone for really showing up and always being here, and the generosity that you show to yourselves, and the commitment that we have first and foremost to our freedom and to the Dhamma, and then the joy of being able to be together. I think Jim is saying goodbye to us. So nice to see you, Jim. So if there's anyone that feels like sharing anything that might have come up in the practice or could be on your mind today, you can unmute yourselves. Debbie, you've got your hand raised.
There, I'm unmuted.
You are.
Something unusual happened during meditation today. Well, first, number one, I really liked your concentrating on what you felt in your mouth, because the taste of coffee is fantastic. Much better than morning breath.
I'll drink to that.
The background is my husband and I are going to be new to Medicare in January, and I've been obsessing about what plans we should go to and that type of thing. So this weekend was really, really busy, and we did make a choice, which is great. But those thoughts came into my mind while I was meditating, and I felt a door on the left side of my head shut, and the thoughts went away, and I was able to back to the breath and mindfulness and really concentrate again. So that was fantastic. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And in case a few of you need to check out sooner, I'd like to ask Tim to give us some of his dulcet tones at this hour in the morning. I always like to ask you to play, Tim, and I'm so glad you accept, and I wouldn't mind if you said no. No pressure.
Yeah, that too. This is a tune. This is called The Walking Song.
Oh, yay, I love this. Can I put you on the spotlight for everybody to see? Do you mind?
Sure, do what you want.
All right.
Here we go. Let's see. Oh, that worked. Let me try that again.
Yeah, go ahead. Start over.
Slipping out right in between the bars, past the rusty car, right underneath the stars. Here we are now walking down the road. Where we gonna go? Well, I don't even know. Saw an old friend lying by the side of the road. Everybody's heavy load. Seems to me that we're just walking to be free. See what we can see. That's good enough for me. Here we go down in amongst the trees. Listen to the bees and the creaking of my knees. Coming out now underneath the sun. Have a little fun. That same as anyone. You know, it ain't as if we really need to get somewhere. I think we're already there. Walking on into the dusky light. That'll be alright. Nice and quiet here tonight. Nice and quiet here tonight. So nice and quiet here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for expressing yourself and for giving us that beautiful original song of yours. And thank you, everyone, for being here and listening to the Dhamma. And if there's